Welcome to episode 2 in season 2 of About Jobs TV. About Jobs TV is programming to help you navigate through the labor market. Remember, we're going to be talking about employment gossip, so it's not all training. We're going to bring you the trends. At the end of the day, you'll be able to get to point A to point B in your career across Africa. Thank you for joining. Welcome back from the break. So today we're going to be talking about the staff that has. Remember, we started this series from the episode 1, and that is the collector series. So we've spoken to you about the staff that has. You know what you have, you know what you're bringing to the table. Now we're going to talk about what not to do now that you know that you have, so that you can still win in this transaction between you and the employer in building the career of your dreams. Now there are 5 things that you are likely to do now that you know that you have something to offer. 1, you're likely to be proud. 2, you're likely to be arrogant. 3, you're likely to outprice yourself. 4, you're likely to indulge in a bit of insulting. And then 5, you're likely to stay at the point where you are. All these 5 things are what not to do as a staff that has. Let's talk a bit about pride. Now, pride does not usually appear to the one who is being proud as pride. He thinks, I'm just being myself. There is something you must have at the back of your mind as the staff that has, and that is that value is only valuable when it's offered to the beneficiary. So if you are too big to communicate what you have to offer, if you are not taking the posture of service, then what you have that is value will be despised. So you must be careful that your body language, your communication, while you are letting people know what you have, does not send pride. 3 things that will show you that you're pride. 1, your intonation. If the way that you're speaking to the other person sounds like you're shouting or sounds like you're looking down on that person, that's pride. 2, if you're asked a question, maybe the same question 2 or 3 times, you might feel a bit exasperated. Why are you asking me this question again? And making a statement like that, that is pride. If somebody asks you a question 2 times, it means that the first time they didn't understand. So you have to find a better way to communicate it. Now, arrogance is downright pompous. It's walking into a room and forgetting to greet anybody in the room and making sure you let everybody know your bank account, what you came with, what you're wearing. It is out of taste. It's out of order. It doesn't sit well in the palace. So arrogance is not something to show when you understand what you are bringing to the table as a staff that has. Let's look at the other 3 points. Becoming Who Companies Want is the first book I wrote. I'm an author of over 10 books, and I'm very passionate about becoming who companies want. However, I had to create an edited version of it because I found out that the dynamics which surrounded the labor market at the time when I wrote it in 2012 have even become increasingly more dynamic, and it's important to help those who are getting into the labor market for the first time know how the employer thinks, what the employer expects of them, how to handle corporate politics. There's so many things they didn't tell you in school when you were going to get a job. I remember the first batch of people that we trained using the Becoming Who Companies Want content, and one of them said to me, Mrs. Fumi, they didn't tell us these things in school. So let me give you an example. While you're about to graduate, you're imagining your first job as a place where you walk into the office and they have a desk chair and an office waiting for you with a laptop. They might have a car waiting for you with that job, and they're going to give you a salary that's commensurate to what you are bringing to the table. You're going to work and you're going to be promoted based on your qualifications and what you deliver. Right? Wrong. It doesn't work like that. In the real world of work, there are major factors that determine how you enter a labor market, how you're promoted, how to make yourself satisfied through the job. So I want you to take the time to get this book. We've made it so inexpensive because I understand you're just entering the labor market. But listen, if you don't get knowledge, you might not get to your goal in life. So get Becoming Who Companies Want today. And there is also a course that goes along with it at the School of Performance, and that's the ultimate guide to landing your first job. If you get these two combinations, I mean, you will walk into an employer's office and be sure you will get the job that you seek. I'll see you at the other end of your testimonial. Now, number 3, where you do not want to find yourself is in a place where you are outpricing yourself. So now you know you have something to offer. Now you know that you are delivering value to the labor market. You must not outprice yourself in the negotiation table. You must be more willing to give the value you have than willing to name your price. You can let the person experience what you have to offer. You could say things like, let's start over the probation period and let's come back to the negotiation table. You can say like, what is your budget, and let's see what I can bring to the table with the budget you have. Never coof. That word coof, let me show you what it looks like. It looks like, Don't do that. When you're in a negotiation table, what you want to be able to understand is how to match your value with the budget and how to get the amount you want by growing the organization where you join with the value you're bringing to the table. So you must be willing to start small but grow big. So never outprice yourself on that negotiation table. Meet them where they are, but always create the vision of where you want to be. And that way, it's a win-win situation. Step 4, do not indulge in insulting. So you have found that you have arrived, or at least you have looked through the labor market and you're seeing that, oh, the skill that you have is in high value. And then maybe you're offered a low price, or somebody says something like, who do you think you are? Or somebody asks, why do you think I need to give you this offer? Or somebody even insults you. Do not indulge in insulting. What it does is it taints your personal brand in a way that you can almost never recover. So geniuses are usually people that organizations seek to have, but they will prefer a plain person, not a genius, able to run a process and just follow instructions. And that's why sometimes you find that A students find it difficult to get jobs, because they have the genius mentality. I know what I'm bringing to the table, don't tell me what to do, and then you can't fit into a team. So never be tempted to insult in a place of work or on a negotiation table or even a colleague. It is not in good taste. The best way to communicate your discontent or dissatisfaction or disappointment is just to use words like that. Oh, I'm actually discontented with this offer, or this offer will not do for me at this time. If somebody is insulting you, basically use some of the tips that we teach in the School of Performance. We have books on corporate politics because we know what you will face in the workplace. So there are better tactics to use than insulting. And then step 5, stagnation. Now that you know that you have and that everybody wants what you have, don't fall into the trap of staying there. Because what you have today that is of value quickly becomes obsolete in this fast-moving generation. So keep moving. As the staff that has, keep amassing more. More of who you are, more of what you have, and more value that you can bring to the table. So we're going to go into the next session now, where we're going to learn more exciting things. See you after the break. Good day. I want to talk to you about a book called The Mindset of the Employer versus the Employee. You know how that every employer feels like their staff don't understand. What do they think their staff doesn't understand? They don't understand the cost of running a business. They don't understand the implications of their actions on the bottom line. And the employee at the same time feels like the employer just doesn't understand. What doesn't the employer understand? The employer doesn't understand what it takes for the employee to show up at work every morning, doesn't understand the arguments you have to go through at home, or he or she has to go through at home before leaving the house, doesn't understand the sacrifice of putting off their own vision to come and work for the employer. Well, I decided to write a book that will help both parties understand, the employer and the employee. The Mindset of the Employer is a book written from different work transaction experiences, letting the employer hear the voice of the employee in a way that they didn't understand before, so that they can gain the employee's engagement, and helping the employer communicate clearly their passions, their dreams to the employee in a way that the employee can digest. It is a must read for the employer and the employee. What's more, when you get the book, you get to attend one of the most exciting workshops, which is where we draw the drawing ring the battle ring of the employer and the employee. These workshops will help so many companies build loyalties, will help employers create long-term careers for their employees, and will help employees settle down in their company and begin to deliver the value that the employer seeks. Get this book today. It will help change your mind about your employer and the employee. Welcome back after the break. So here are some skills that will help you amass. We're using the word amass in the collector series, and remember from the definition, amass is somebody that collects things over a period of time, and we are recommending to you that you should be that staff that has. So these are some skills that will help you be in the position of having. First skill is research. You have to have a voracious, insatiable appetite for knowledge. Always finding out new things, better ways and faster ways to do things, learning from mentors, learning from content, learning from videos. Have an insatiable amount or an insatiable quest for knowledge, and that will make you be somebody that has. The second thing you might find surprising as somebody that amasses is that you should have prudence. Prudence is the ability not to waste. And the difference between people who are called collectors are that where somebody has something over a period of time and destroys it, a collector can preserve something through generations. And what happens with the value of the thing is, since a collector has preserved it through generations, the value of it is now enormous. It's like somebody finding a Rolls Royce, a 1956 Rolls Royce. What they price it is much higher than your current car today. And the way that Rolls Royce made it into this generation was by the collector, the person that had the ability to keep things, to manage things, to be prudent. So if you're someone that is wasteful and destructive, you're likely not to be someone that has and resources be committed to you. You're likely not to be able to boast of being a manager of a team, or being able to transact business in a way that you convert raw materials or investments into revenue. But when you have a prudent mind wants to keep things well, and they want to see how these things can grow. So prudence is a skill to have when you're building your empire in your career. Let's look at the other three. Here are the skills that help you amass. We've spoken about two earlier. Let's look at the other three. Third is value and value description. Always have a mindset of, what am I bringing to the table? Remember, value is not what you describe as valuable. It is what is seen as value by the receiver. So if I find what you're offering me valuable, I will pay for it. And the major thing to convert value on the negotiation table is the ability to describe value, the ability to know the price. Some people, when given a present, have a habit of either asking the person the value of it or going to find out the value of it. Why? Because they want to know how to keep it. They want to know how to protect it. If you go to a store and you ask, how much is this? And the person says to you, I don't know. Well, you don't know what to do with that kind of product, do you? They don't have the description of the value. So how can you procure it? How can you get it? How can you know if you want it or if you don't want it? So you must be able to describe the value you bring to the table. It is something that builds the expectation of the other person and helps them place a value on what you're offering. So it puts you in the position of somebody that has. Now, if I come to you and I say, what do you have to offer me to drink? And you say, I have drinks. I think that if I went to somebody else and the person says to me, okay, I have a bottle of water, I have Coca-Cola, I have champagne, I have Chardonnay, I would probably value that description a bit more than the person that says, I have drinks. And I find the person that has described what they have someone that I can relate with better than the person that just gives me a generic one. And that's what happens at the interview table. Some people can describe very vividly what they're bringing to the table, and others cannot. And that contributes to the mindset that you have. The fourth thing is to look at your ability to report. It's an addendum to describing your value. But in the world of work, we say work not reported is work not done. So if you're not able to, at the end of any period, report what has been done, you are most likely to be found useless. You know, some people find words used like that to them by their bosses and they find it very offensive, you know. But if you cannot prove your use, then you might as well take the title. At the end of every month, you cannot write a report of what you've been able to achieve. At the end of 1 year, you cannot outline the milestones. In your CV document, you cannot outline your achievements. Then how do we know what you've done? How do you know what you've done and if you've made progress? So to be someone that has, you need to be someone that is able to report. And on a final note, you have to be someone that gives attention to detail. Attention to detail is a skill that brings you to the point of management. So you walk into a room and you can count how many people are in this room without being asked to. You sit on a chair, you notice that there was a bulb on the chair, and then you come back the next time and you're like, where's that bulb? That attention to detail is something that puts people in the point of management and makes sure that people always have. So in being a staff that has, in this episode, you have learned what not to do, now that you know that you have, and what skills you need to begin to build on today to be addressed as the staff that has. In the next session, we're going to be looking at the collector series. You're going to watch the story of what I call a typical collector. This is somebody that has built what he has over a period of time. He's now a CEO, and he's been able to, because of his ability to articulate his achievements, get greater positions for himself. So if you're somebody sitting in a job and you've not been promoted for a period of time, or you've not been able to get into a job, it's because you have not demonstrated what you have and you have not built skills to be able to amass and then present the value that you have. I hope this episode has been helpful. We're going to have more to talk about in the next episodes. Remember, we're going to talk about job scamming. I know this is a big issue and we need to address it. We're going to talk about like I said, the collector series. We're going to talk about so much more exciting things. And there's something in the world of work called a recruitment leper. Find out. See you next time on About Jobs TV.